Welcome to LHS Live, every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Where you'll hear from new guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based, student-driven. And now, your host, Joe Roberts. Good morning, Panther Nation, and welcome to another episode of LHS Live. I'm Joe Roberts, and as always, I'm here with a super interesting guest. Our guest this week is Liberty County Court at Law Judge Tommy Chambers. Wow, I can't believe I said that in one mouthful without messing that up.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here, Judge Chambers. Now, I've had some interactions adjacent to you, not with you, but adjacent to you. I know you're going to have to correct me on this. A number of years ago, I was working with CASA, and I don't know if it was your sister, your wife, who is related to you that was the librarian at the elementary school?
My sister.
Okay, that's what I thought.
My sister Nancy.
Okay, I knew you had a relative. I just couldn't remember if it was your wife or your sister. It's been so long ago. I know I'm not that old, but my brain doesn't work quite as well. And she always spoke so highly of you.
Well, that's nice.
And
nice to hear that.
I was sad that I never got to interact with you personally,
Yes,
but
yes.
She just spoke well of you.
Well, good. And thank you for having me here. If I could, I'd like to give a shout out
Absolutely.
to a few people here. I'd like to give a shout out to Randy Booth, Maria Ramirez, Coach Lacefield, and Ms. Eastep. I believe they won teacher awards or paraprofessional awards,
That's right.
Teachers of the Year, and it's quite an accomplishment, and I know those people are proud.
Oh, absolutely. And all four of those people are just solid, great individuals, and
Right.
our ISD is lucky to have them.
I agree.
For sure.
I agree.
All right, Judge, let's just jump on in. So I know who you are, and I know what you do, but I don't know who you are, and I'm sure there are a bunch of people in Liberty County that if they know who you are, they probably wish they didn't because of the judge stuff.
Well, it's not all bad all the
Okay,
time. There's a lot of good things that happen in court, but it is a solemn and important thing. People that come up there, I have to continually remind myself that this is maybe the most important thing they've got going on in their lives. So it is somewhat solemn and important to them, and it can never get old with me. Every day I have to realize that this is an important thing to these folks. Anybody that comes to court, I remember my first day in court when I was a lawyer, and it was just overwhelming. And I often harken back to those days and put myself back in that time and realize that this is probably new to these folks and maybe overwhelming.
Absolutely. All right, so let me ask you a couple of questions here. Are you a Liberty County native?
I was born in Liberty, Texas.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so they've got your stamp all over this place. You've been here all your life.
Yes.
What is it about this community that made you want to stay and say, hey, you know what, I want to give more to this place?
Well, I guess sort of jokingly, if we could insert some levity in here, when I got out of law school, it was I had to land somewhere, so I came back home and started practicing law. And then, let's see, back it up a little further, I graduated from the University of Texas, and
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em, that's
Yeah.
right. And I sort of out of necessity, I moved back home, if you know what I mean.
So when you started practicing law, probably Liberty was booming at that time, right? Or had the boom already busted?
Well, we're somewhat dependent on the oil industry somewhat, at least back in the 80s we were. I remember in 86, as I recall, I was going to start law school, but as I recall, the price of oil hit $8 a barrel, as I recall, which is extremely low. It's the lowest in my lifetime.
That is ridiculously
so
low.
Whether we were on a boom or a bust, and I graduated in 89, but I passed the bar in 1990. It's been, 31 years ago.
Don't say that out loud.
Yeah. I don't remember if we were on a boom or a bust, to tell you the truth, in 1990. I know right previous to that, we were on a bust.
Well, it's still a lot of things were cooking and popping when you were coming out of law school around here. So, why, when you stuck back here, why did you stay? See, I told you I wasn't Mike Wallace. I wasn't going to ask you any 60-minute questions, and here I am doing it.
I could say something like I love liberty and things like that, but I would probably love anywhere I was. I mean, but I wrote somewhat. I used to have a biographical website. Anyway, I remember writing in in my biography that I got out of law school. I had $300 and an MS-DOS computer, and I came back and I opened up my law practice in my grandmother's garage. Actually, it was downtown, very centrally located.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother's house was downtown, and her garage was a little, like 20-foot by 20-foot square building,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I opened up my law office. Sort of, again, out of necessity. I didn't have any other choice.
Those kinds of stories are always the most amazing to me. When you look around, and Liberty has been blessed with, there are so many amazing and successful people in this town, in this area, and on the surface, when you look at people, you're like, oh man, if only this would have happened for me, and if only this, I would be just like them. And then you hear these kind of stories where you're coming back with lint in your pocket, and you're in a shed or whatever it is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I'm the same way. I have the same perspective as you do on that. I love hearing stories about the sports show with Brian Gumbel.
Real Sports.
Real
Yeah.
Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stories of those people are so inspirational. The time and dedication they put into things to really achieve those levels of accomplishment, and I just find that amazing.
Okay, so you're here. You stuck the landing. You decided to not go anywhere. Family man, Judge, or
I am. I've got a wife and some children and grandchildren.
and you claim them all, right?
I claim them all.
Okay.
Right. Just precious. I got so many grandchildren. Of course, I'm probably preaching to the choir, the audience out there, but to me, it's just amazing. Like all the mistakes you made raising children, now you get to correct all that with the grandchildren.
Yeah, there's this really cool meme going around, and it's suggesting, all of a sudden, now that you got grandkids, you got McDonald's money. You didn't have it for me, but now you got it for the grandkids.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
So, super important question here. Maybe the most important that I'm going to ask you today is what's your grandpa name?
My Pop.
Yeah. Oh, Pop.
Pop
Okay.
or Pops.
Okay.
Yeah, just precious. I won't get into it too much, but my grandchildren were at my house, and I was going to go. I'd gone home for lunch. Anyway, I said, I'm going to go brush my teeth, and I'm going back to work. And my little 18-month-old grandchild said, brush teeth, and ran past me, ran all the way into the bathroom. Just he loves brushing his teeth, especially with me. And it's just adorable.
That's awesome. So I was expecting maybe that your nickname would be the long arm of the law or something like that.
No, they don't call me Judge or anything like that. They call me Pop.
So that they don't have to stand at attention when they talk to you or anything?
No,
Okay.
I can't get that out of them. No. I wish, but no.
So the last one, and I'm going to leave it alone, they don't have to approach the bench when they come to talk to you. They can just go right up to you?
No, as a matter of fact, one of the most heartwarming things when they run, if you got children or grandchildren, run to you with open arms, running to you, Pop,
right,
Pop,
yeah.
Pop. Just adorable. Yeah.
Okay, family man, you're here. So you kind of built up a bit of a legacy. You've been on the bench for a while now, right?
Time flies, but 11 years. And
well, I mean, when you say 11, it doesn't sound long, but then when you think 11 years ago is a long time ago.
Yeah, we've done some things. I try to approach every day with the same, I guess, enthusiasm or outlook, which is a positive outlook. Try to do good. Try to do good by mankind and my community.
Right.
Try to be there on time, early, and work late if you have to. Try to be efficient. Try not to cause problems or try not to embarrass people.
Right.
Try to get their business done. Treat it with efficiency, and realize that I don't know. I don't think this is my job is any more important than your job or anybody's job. We all have a part to play, and I just try to do mine as efficiently and what I think is the best way to get it done. What I'm elected to do.
So, in your day-to-day activities, I guess I don't, because I've talked about this with other guests before. When I think of a judge, we always have this TV reality or perception of what reality is, and that's not actually anything close to what your day-to-day reality is. So what is a day in the life of a judge, at least according to your viewpoint? Well,
I don't like to, and I have to constantly, I don't like to talk out of school, so to speak,
Right.
And of course I'm not going to talk about any particular case, but for instance, this morning we had, I just left. We had, 40 or 50 criminal cases. And it's just a process you have to go through, and there's all these moving parts. It's not just sit there and bark out rulings or anything. It's all these moving parts, all the clerks. With criminal cases, you've got law enforcement, you've got the county attorney's office, Matthew Poston and his gang are just real efficient, and on top of things, they all work hard. The clerk's offices, court reporters, you got bondsmen. These are in criminal cases. Of course, you got the defendants and their lawyers. A lot of moving parts, and
so many entities you're working with.
Right, and they all work hard. They do their job. We don't all work hand in hand,
Right,
and
right.
there might be different interests, but maybe pull in different ways. But we're all working towards doing our job, and you do it with professionalism and courtesy, and it's just sort of amazing that it gets done. Things get done.
Right. It's about 9:47. We're a little more than halfway through the show. You're watching LHS Live. I'm Joe Roberts, and I'm here with Judge Tommy Chambers, Liberty County Court at Law. All right. So you are dealing with all these different entities. How do you specifically handle dealing with all these people they've got their own wants, their own desires, their own mission that they're trying to accomplish? How do you juggle that as a judge?
Well, maybe some basic principles. I realize the position I'm in, that I can decide things, and I take it very seriously. I appreciate people's position of being here, whether it's for whatever, whether it's a divorce or a criminal case or anything. You're in a courtroom,
Right?
And I try to treat people with respect, the way I would want to be treated, or the way I remember wanting to be treated when I was just starting to practice law, and I find that usually people appreciate that, and it seems like I can accomplish the goal of getting some resolution to their issue. They've got some problem. People have a problem when they come to court, whatever it is.
Right.
Unless it's I say problem, they have an issue, and I
Right.
don't mean that as a cliche, but there's some issue they want resolved. Of course, some things like adoption are pleasant. Those are
Right.
pleasant
Right,
things.
right.
A good result. So it's not all bad.
Not
but
all storm clouds.
It's not all storm clouds, and there are other things that just need to be done and taken care of. But I realize that it weighs heavy on these people's minds, good or bad, and they need some resolution to it, whether it's yes or no, or maybe, or in between, but they need some help, and that's what our system. I'm proud of not only the American system, but here locally, I'm proud of our judicial system, of our courthouse, of our the way we handle things, civil, criminal cases, the process, the people that work there. I'm very proud of that.
And maybe I'm going to be, I hope I'm not out of bounds with this next question. And again, if I ask you something that's just too out of bounds, you say, hey, no, I can't really respond to that one.
Okay.
How do you deal with a first-time offender versus maybe somebody who's, we'll call them a frequent flyer?
Well, you're talking about like a criminal case?
Yeah, in a criminal case, of course. Do you have a rule of thumb? Do you play it all case by case basis? It depends on what they've done?
Depends on this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Of course, a first offender, and it depends on what the case is, depends on the circumstances. I always tell people every circumstance is different. You could get arrested. You could be nice and polite, courteous, be respectful of the officer, things like that. On the other hand, you've seen probably on, Cops show or something where they kick out the back window, the guy's in the back seat and he's cussing the cop out and kicking out the back window. And I tell people, that's not good.
Right.
Now, if you're very respectful, that is good. So, all those things come into play. But I think what you're asking is, when do I decide enough is enough?
Right, yeah, and that's really what I'm asking, I guess.
There are different types of people. Some people that come up say they ran into some problems. Some people come up and that's all it took was just somebody saying boo, or you're in trouble. The policeman arresting them. That's all it takes. They will never do that again. They are so embarrassed. They're embarrassed to their family, their parents, their wife, their children, their job. They're so embarrassed, and it has affected them so deeply. And they realize, how could I mess up? I've got to change my ways and make sure that never happens again. Some people are like that. Other people, it doesn't really affect them that bad. It's just it's another day, things. And then other people, it doesn't affect them at all. It doesn't mean anything to them. So figure out what kind of person it is, and that helps with my decision on how I'm going to treat them.
Well, the reason I ask you that is, as a coach, and I'm the boys soccer coach at the high school, I've got these different personalities. There's some boys on the team that I can really get after them, and then there's other boys that I have to be much more gentle and loving with because they can't handle it if I get after them. And you got to manage all these personalities, and I can almost guarantee, I would bet a big money that you've got all these different personalities that come through, and you just kind of affirm that.
You do. Especially young people. I never want to break a kid's spirit.
Right.
If they've messed up, which things are understandable, I don't want to say jail is your path for the future. You're just getting started. Here's going to be the rest of your life in and out of jail. I never want them to resign themselves to that fact or accept that. I like to keep them with a positive, optimistic life, like, hey, this was a mistake. I can do better. I want to do better.
So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, is what you're saying? If I don't want to put words in your mouth at all.
No, of course not. There are a lot of pigeonholes and categories that people fall in, but even within those separate silos or pigeonholes or categories, there are a multitude of different circumstances. So
I have seen on TV, and you take the TV judges, however you take the TV judges, and then some real judges that. And not that the TV judges aren't real judges. I don't know if they are or aren't. But where you're watching live footage from the courtrooms, those are the real judges that I'm referring to, air quote. And there's a judge in, maybe New Jersey, somewhere up north, and he's so creative with the things that they'll come in, and instead of just doing go to jail or do this, he's like, hey, I need you to go do some community service, but you're going to have to go bag groceries for elderly or do something on that vein where they're having to give back a little bit. Are you a creative sentencing kind of guy, or is that something you're even allowed to do?
You can. To tell you the truth, I'm not. when
See, I'm trying to get you your own TV show. That's what's
yeah, and that's a thing, and that is TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I decided somewhat early on that, in my mind, as far as I was concerned,
Mm-hmm.
when I got creative, and I mean showboaty kind of creative,
Right.
cutesy,
Okay.
that I didn't like that route. I don't like that route, and I didn't think it was fair to the person, because I don't know, I felt like I was sort of doing that to be cute.
So it's more embarrassing them than actually helping them?
That's precisely that.
That's fair.
And I'm not out to embarrass anybody as far as that goes. Now, I don't like embarrassing people.
Right.
Now, punishment's something else,
Mm-hmm.
and facing the music and what you do, the crime, you do the time type thing is a different matter. But I find that when I start getting creative, that usually it's probably not the best thing. I like to kind of stick to the simplistic one-to-one relationship.
Okay. All right. So I've got this note here of my wonderful producer, Mr. Ewing. He always hands me notes, and I love it.
Was it screened?
No.
first?
It's good. And this kind of deals with our next topic.
Okay.
New voter registration cards going out this week. And make sure that you're looking for new precinct numbers on your voter registration cards. It's always important, knowing where you're going to vote and then what you're allowed to vote for based on where you are. And speaking of voting, you are coming up for re-election.
That's right.
And that is coming down the pipe pretty quickly, right?
Oh, let's see, March 1st, so what is that?
So
4
less than a
weeks?
month.
3 weeks, less than a month, right?
Yeah, because
right.
today's the 2nd, Groundhog Day. Did you see your shadow? That's the real question.
Yeah, I hardly need, I think today is 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of twos today.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming up with a re-election. If I'm Joe Q. Public, why would I vote for you?
Well, you might not know it, but I think I've been a good steward of the court. I think the voters have trusted me with this position, and I think I've upheld that trust. I believe I've done a good job. I think I am a good, productive, vital part of our system here in Liberty County. I think I do a good job. I haven't heard any complaints. Kept my name out of the newspapers as far as problems go. We haven't had any problems, and I think I'm asking the voters to trust me again.
Okay, so you're saying you've not been before Judge Moorfield or Judge Kane or anyone like that? You haven't had to do that?
Personally, no. I work. I think we all work good within the system here in Liberty County. Yes.
Okay, so kind of a final sort of question for you, which I try to ask everyone, and sometimes we're just talking and we run out of time, but I wanted to specifically leave some time for this. If you had to say something to one of our audience members or one of the students about legacy or about a life lesson, what would the phrase, what would the sentence be to them?
Young people, what would my life's advice be?
Life advice, the pop, the grandpa advice. What am I getting?
Advice? Probably, I could give some inspirational advice and things like that, but to me, it seems like maybe advice is really helpful in your darkest hour, maybe. And I've always liked the phrase, this too will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's when you're really down and your darkest hour that's really when you reach out for something to hold on to keep you going, to not give up. And I think this too shall pass is a life lesson or some advice to carry with you the rest of your life. There's all kinds of other advice. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy says, "Get her done," which I think is a good advice too.
Right.
So keep. I think your inner character will keep you moving, and you should always strive to do better.
Okay, I like that. This too shall pass.
Yes.
In these
yes.
precarious times that we're living in, that's probably a pretty good one to hang your hat on.
Yes. Well, thank you.
All right, Judge, I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs real quick
Okay.
because I like to give shout-outs. You
You
gave a
bet.
shout-out.
You bet.
Today is my oldest child's birthday, turning 15 on Groundhog Day.
How about that?
And I'm so proud that he was born on a national holiday because I don't have to ever forget it. I try to arrange birthdays, anniversaries around major holidays.
Yeah.
You know, as much as you can arrange a birthday, of course. But tonight at our Liberty ISD auditorium, the middle school Panther players are doing a production of Love is a Hot Fudge Sunday. It's our one-act play competition show. It's going to be 6 p.m. Tickets $5 at the door, and we go to competition on Saturday. We are the reigning district champions, and so we're looking to
Right.
keep that that halo, that statue in Liberty.
UIL one-act play
UIL one-act play. So we're excited about that.
to the LHS auditorium.
At the LISD auditorium behind San Jacinto Elementary.
Yeah.
It's right over there, kind of mushroomed or behind the
Yeah,
football
yes,
field
yes.
and the two
Yeah.
elementary schools.
Well, great.
Judge, thank you for being here
Thank
today.
you, Mr. Roberts.
It's always a pleasure to have interesting and cool guests that talk about cool stuff and make me sound like I know what I'm doing.
Well, if anybody that's out there listening, this is a great setup. It's just amazing. It looks like a television studio, and just heard nothing but good things about you and the program, and I want to thank you.
Well, appreciate you. You're watching LHS Live. Don't forget that you can see this in not antiquity. That's not the right word. You can see this
Perpetuity?
later on.
Perpetuity?
Maybe that's the right word. Follow the link. Share this with whomever you can share it with. We'll be back next week, and our guest next week will be folks from the Liberty ISD Education Foundation. So looking forward to talking to them about that. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. New guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based. Student-driven. Don't forget to tune in next week for LHS Live.